Cool. We got one topic left. And for fun, we are going to, amongst us, because obviously in hip hop, especially if you're making a name for yourself before you release your debut album, if it's a big name and you're, making all the noise in the world, the hip hop world starts to expect certain things from you. And we're just going to go and take it in turns as to who had the most pressure going into a debut album to release it and live up to expectation. Mo, do you want to start?
From 2000 onwards, right?
From the 2000s onwards.
Just before people start shouting us for not saying Hove. I had 3. This is just me personally anticipating. I'm not saying the culture was anticipating it. I'm just saying the 3 I was anticipating the most just personally. I had Game, documentary, because I was eagerly anticipating that album, I'll be honest with you. I had Cole, Silent Story, and I had Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City, based on Section 80, based on Friday Night Lights, and based on the buzz around the game. Those are the 3 that I was anticipating the most. And only one disappointed.
Which one disappointed?
In hindsight, Cole's one. At the time, it didn't disappoint. In hindsight, Cole's one disappointed. But documentary and Good Kid was, to me, amazing.
Fair enough. I mean, I'd never heard of Game before. Dreams.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
No, I heard him. And I remember there was a big buzz around Game from when I was young anyway. I don't know. Yeah, it just came across to me. And I remember hearing, I'm just like, all right, cool. This is... And it was the 50 Cole sign, the Dre Cole sign. There was so much going around the game that was the one that I was anticipating the most anyway. So those are the top 3 for me from 2000 onwards.
Fair.
Pete?
I think I misunderstood the question, because I thought we were talking about anticipation or pressure.
Yeah.
Is it both?
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're different things.
Who had the most pressure for their debut album?
Yeah, but pressure is different to anticipation.
Pressure, I'll say Kendrick though. Pressure's number 1 Kendrick for me. I think Pressure had...
Anticipation that I lived to see, Cole's anticipation was mad for the first album. Kendrick's one was mad. Game's one was mad. 50's one was mad.
Yeah.
Pressure. I think Cole had a bit of pressure,
Cole had massive pressure on him.
Yeah, man. I think Drake as well. Man, because Drake, at that time, he was scorching.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he was everywhere. So I think that, there was a bit of pressure on him to deliver on that first one because there was so much promise that had been shown in it. Anticipation as well. J Electronica for me.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I was anticipating that for a time.
Yo,
bro.
I forgot. That was live podcast days.
When he dropped, but even when he dropped Exhibit C, I was waiting, bro. I was waiting for so long. And then when it finally dropped, I was like, rah, this shit's here, man. I've been waiting for so long. And it's finally here sort of thing, innit? So off the top of my head, those are the names that, whether I'm talking about pressure or anticipation, they're the names that, I really remember.
J-Lex was a moment in the group chat.
I remember
when he dropped.
Yeah,
that was a moment.
I remember.
That was a moment in the group chat.
Yeah, I remember that morning, boy. I was late for work.
Oh, bro.
So I remember up at 6 a.m. listening to this shit.
I was late for work, yeah.
Just reciting lyrics.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
man.
I had J-Lex as well. I think off the strength of Exhibit C alone. Exhibit A as well, but Exhibit C, you couldn't tell anybody that this brother wasn't the savior of hip-hop.
Fam.
So his album, no matter how long it took for it to actually drop, it was always going to be an event because he was just so imperial those times. And even when he did stuff like We Made It and Ghost of Christopher Wallace and all the other Lucy's that he dropped, it just built up that anticipation.
Yeah.
And clearly built up the pressure as well because it clearly pressured him into, not wanting to release something. So, yeah, I think you can't get as definitive when it comes to pressure as J Electronica, I think. In terms of anticipation, just because I saw it and I saw the campaign to get it to number 1 and just as far as creatively off the back of all that he was doing before, Stormzy. Stormzy 100%. Off the back of Shut Up and Big for Your Boots and all that as well. And the fact that everybody was rooting for him to be as big as he possibly could be. Yeah, there was probably mad pressure on Stormzy's shoulders to kind of see it through. And by most accounts, he did. So, he definitely had some pressure. I'd probably say Dave as well. Similar reasons. He was scorching hot when he released Psychodrama. and nobody knew the kind of angle that it would take. But because he was more or less the star boy, there was a lot of pressure in that regard as well. So,
do you put Huss in there as well then? See, did you put them two?
Not as much, you know.
For real?
Maybe because Huss, as much as he was a name, I'm not sure if the buzz was as strong.
It was post the album, you reckon that's when it...
I think so.
He's a savior.
Because before the album, he had Friendly. He had a couple other things, but it wasn't to the same level. Because with Stormzy, Shut Up, obviously, first freestyle to chart.
Yeah.
They've had, you know, been building up expectation with a couple EPs and, you know, a couple great songs and videos. I feel like the pressure on them, especially as they were a little bit more visible to the general public than Huss, I think the pressure was more on them.
No, you're right.
What about Chance the Rapper?
Oh my gosh.
What about him?
Was there like pressure or anticipation for his first album?
Awful album. Oh my God.
I didn't care for him though.
I personally didn't, but a lot of people did.
P? You know me, sorry.
Yeah, there was. Because, he had dropped Colouring Book, and Colouring Book won a Grammy for flip's sake. First mixtape to ever win a Grammy. So yeah, there was probably hella pressure on him as well. And he had to fight off, even before the Grammy, he had to fight off a lot of like industry plant labels because his second tape, what's it called? Acid Rap. I mean, he had been in the game maybe like 2-3 years and he already had features from like Absol and Action Bronson and all those types of people. So the industry plant label had been going around, and then he obviously won the Grammy with the mixtape. So it was very undeniable. So the pressure must have been high on him. And boy, the less said about that album, the better. That shit was awful. Oh my gosh. He still hasn't recovered from that. He's dropped a couple good songs in between, like since then, but it was so bad. But yeah, I'll probably say Chance the Rapper too.
Anyone else on a personal level you guys anticipated? Or had pressure for yourselves just on a personal?
I guess Kendrick.
Kendrick's.
Yeah, I guess Kendrick. ASAP Rocky.
AK. Do that.
That's it for me, really.
Nah, I ain't got no one else.
Fair dues. Trying to think, do I have anyone? Oh. Not really. Not really. I was a massive YG fan, so I was looking forward to YG's album. I want to say, I love these albums, to be honest with you.
I still haven't listened to that first album.
I used to rinse YG's first album, like back to back to back. Hit him with a left, right. Yeah, I anticipated that.
Oh, was that on that album?
Yeah.
Oh.
Left, right. Hit him with a left, right. And he had Bicking
That
Back.
song has not aged well.
And he had Bicking Back Being Bull.
No.
You know how crazy that is? Bicking Back because I'm the Bicking Back.
It's cool to say.
What?
It's cool to say.
Bicking Back Being Bull. Nah. Can't tell me no.
I hear it. Cool. Well, before we wrap up, I do want to talk very quickly about another thing in hip hop that's been dividing the community over the last week or so, and it's surrounding a pioneer. Some might call him the godfather of rap, the actual art form of rapping. Melle Mel has been in the news and in the rap community recently, basically just shitting on everyone.
In the gym.
Brother, this guy's 60 years old. He's wow.
Did you see it? Bro, have you seen the video, Pete?
Yes.
This guy's in the gym pumping iron. Look here. Nah, salute to Melle Mel.
He is wham. Tonk for the older aficionados amongst us.
Say tonk.
Tonk, bro.
He was like, wasn't he like the first like GOAT?
Yeah.
He was the first GOAT.
He is the godfather.
He rapped arguably, I'm not saying this is my opinion, but arguably the greatest hip hop song ever in the
Broken
message.
glass everywhere. Niggas pissing on the stairs, but they just don't care.
Arguably the greatest hip hop song ever. Arguably great. And we mentioned Coily Ray earlier. She sampled the message in the new single. I think it's called Players or whatever it's called. But Melle Mel basically went on a platform, I think it's called The Art of Dialogue.
Yeah, they're dope. That's a dope platform. It started off as a 2-pack channel and then it's just become other stuff.
Yeah, they were right to do that. I know, I'm sorry. But basically, he was responding and being interviewed about basically Billboard, the beloved rap magazine Billboard, did a list of the greatest rappers ever to celebrate 50 years of hip hop this year. And it was all over the place. Can't even lie to you. Check it out in your spare time. Actually, we'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. And Melle Mel wasn't very happy. Among the many things that he said that Eminem is only at number 5 on this list because he's white. He called Nicki Minaj being ahead of Rakim on the list blasphemy.
God bless him.
He said Lil Wayne's voice is unknown because he uses auto-tune. He said Tupac is greater than Jay-Z. He said Busta Rhymes is one of the most complete in the game. And generally just not being very happy. And it divided hip-hop. 50 Cent called him a hater. Chuck D used an analogy to basically refer to Melle Mel as Wilt Chamberlain. And he basically said that, you know, we should just let Melle Mel be Wilt Chamberlain. And I imagine Wilt Chamberlain was very bitter about, you know, the respect that he was getting in his lifetime because, you know, more and more people overtook him as far as relevance and importance, even though he set pace for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And Melle Mel seems to be the same way. And a lot of people mentioned when Method Man went on the Math Hoffa podcast, right? And he told a story about Melle Mel basically not really acknowledging Method Man, and Method Man was very perturbed by it, saying that, you know, you have a lot of people here that love you. Stop being like this. So, is it just a case of another old head being bitter? Or does he have valid points?
He's got valid points.
I haven't watched the whole video, so I don't mean to cut you off at all.
No, go on.
I haven't watched the whole video. The points you just made, I don't think he's wrong. Nicki Minaj ain't better than Rakim. Eminem ain't top 5. Busta is one of the most complete. Where did he lie?
I suppose, I'm not saying he lied, but I suppose the wider context of him not being very graceful generally.
I don't expect him to.
But he's been known for that though. He's always had a reputation for just being very like an old head, innit?
But then,
do you know what I mean? He's never really like bitten his tongue about how he feels about the rappers that came after him. He's always considered himself to be like the greatest.
yeah, but then
Do you know
if
what I mean?
it's...
And a lot of them old man, that's what they're like, man. They still want that respect. They still want to be held in high regards. I mean, what happened in New York when we, do you know what I mean? When we were going to meet, you know, who that shall not be mentioned.
Wait, we can't mention him?
Do you want to mention him?
DJ Cool Herc.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
What happened?
you know,
We'll talk about that
story.
a lot after.
Yeah, we could tell the story, man. But yeah, man, it's no real surprise. Like I've known Melle Mel to be a bit of a hater, so I'm not really shocked.
So I guess, I mean, now that you said that, I feel like it's a bit of both then. Because if he has a history of being a bitter old head, then that's just who he is. Was he making valid points? I mean, I suppose so. Like, the Nicki point especially. Lil Wayne, I thought was...
That's hating.
That's a bit harsh.
That was harsh.
Yeah.
That was harsh. The Tupac Jay-Z thing,
He's right.
I just feel like Jay-Z's been getting it a lot recently, man.
Can we...
How so?
No, it's been...
There was a video that said that there's never been a year where he was the hottest rapper.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And everybody...
Spice One said he doesn't have a greater album than All Eyes on Me.
That's a lie.
And Lil Wayne said he's better.
That's a lie.
That's fine. Wayne can feel that way.
A better rapper.
He can feel that.
A better rapper.
He can feel that.
All right.
I don't agree with it, but of course
He's one
well
of the
entitled.
elites. Yeah, he's one of the... I see what you're
He
saying.
can feel that way.
But Jay-Z's been getting the left, right, isn't he? Right.
I feel like he's been getting bashed crazy.
He's getting bashed crazy because...
Bro, when you're number one, come on, man. You're going to get it crazy, right?
Yeah. But it's just... But don't downplay his... Now we're just getting into...
What, Melle Mel?
No, as a Jay-Z, people are just now downplaying Jay-Z's career.
Who's doing that?
On Twitter, bro, it's a lot. It's a lot, I'll be honest with you.
I mean, the video that said there's never been a year he was the hottest rapper, I feel like that's downplaying a
That was an interesting video, though. It was bullshit, but
it
was interesting.
I think the card on listen for me was saying that Ludacris was hotter than Jay-Z the year that Jay-Z dropped the Blueprint.
Yeah, that's wild.
But he knows people weren't...
Which, by the way, is better than All Eyes on Me. In my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Yeah, with Melle Mel, I think it's a case of both. I think he's got every right to be an old bitter hater. I think he's got every single right. If you're Wilt or you're Kareem, and then someone says Jason Tatum's better than not even Jason Tatum. Say someone says, just trying to think. Say you got who's a point guard from back then? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Say you're John Stockton, and then someone goes, "Yeah, I'll take." I'm trying to compare. Just an average point guard ahead of someone that used to be a point guard back then. You'll be like, no, you're not. Just because Rakim is so elite. So when you're giving a list and you've got Nicki Minaj ahead of Rakim, this list was a joke from what I remember. I feel like they had top 7.
That's not his issue though, bro. His issue isn't the facts.
Is it not that they're shitting on old heads?
Yeah. It's like, so the more that you propel someone like a Nicki ahead of Rakim, the less you're gonna like see Melle Mel. I think that's what I took from it.
And does he not have the right to be better then?
He's I won't say he's clutching at straws, but he's attempting to kind of hold on to like what made him great in the first place, isn't it? To ensure that his name is always mentioned.
But hasn't he got a right to feel like that?
But I also,
Yeah, of course. Like he's responsible for the first wave of how them man started to rap, innit? Do you know what I mean? So,
and I suppose because it's Billboard and the Billboard is a pop music magazine, if a casual rap fan sees that list, they're probably going to take that as gospel, which means that Melle Mel's voice and Rakim's and Kane's and KRS, all these people, they fade further into obscurity because of that. At the same time, though, if you're bitter towards people, and that's just your default setting when it comes to the younger generation, I mean, a lot of that problem is you, my friend.
yeah.
Like, cool, like, maybe they should show respect, and cool, they're reaping the benefits of what you built, but ultimately, you were around in your era for a reason, they're around in their era for a reason. You can't blame them for that.
Yeah.
And you can't be bitter towards them for that. That's how the gap widens.
True.
You got to welcome him with open arms.
But I don't think it's just his positioning on the list that he has an issue with, because
No, he had an issue with the general list.
Yeah, he had an issue with the fact that Busta Rhymes isn't seen as like the Busta Rhymes is number one to him. Do you know what I mean? So it's clearly more about just the integrity of the list. And
The list is a joke. Nicki Minaj at 10, Drake's at 8, Eminem's at 5. I'm just looking at it. It's a joke.
I don't even like.
Eminem, that's valid, I feel like.
Eminem's the
Rap
most.
skill and the fact he's the highest selling rapper of all time.
Eminem's not in my top 5, but
M's
that's
not
just
top
me.
5, man.
Fair enough, but I think you
Even-
could argue, you
even
could
in the-
definitely argue it.
Even in an objective list, I don't think M's top 5.
I don't know, man.
Bro, I don't know if he's top 5, man.
In terms of totality,
Yeah. An objective list?
I think you could definitely
You
argue
think
it.
M's top 5?
You could definitely argue it.
Well, he's closer to top
You
5.
could probably argue it. But you lose the argument.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot on his side.
Yeah. No, but
He's got classics, he's got the rap skill, he's got the sales,
Longevity.
he's got the
though?
impact.
you don't have the
They
longevity.
ain't got longevity.
You don't have the longevity.
That's a big part of it, no?
He's got somewhat of longevity.
It's a conversation, man.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
I
Innit?
suppose it depends on what you mean by longevity, because he's still making music. Even if it's not good music, he's still making music. He was
Then I don't count. I don't care about that.
But
longevity
he
then.
was still
For me,
here and there. Like, when did he even
like
drop?
longevity don't count to me if you're making whack shit at like 47 years, 56 years old.
But he was
And
still.
you're just like doing it.
He had a few. He was about post 2010s for a while.
With him.
Yeah, he was here when he had that song with Rihanna. Lived. He had that.
It wasn't good music.
You didn't live the way you lie.
Absolutely not.
For real.
Why would I?
I used to love that song.
God
I
bless
can't
you.
tell you what it really is.
God bless you, man.
that flew over my head. But yeah, I think you could argue it. But yeah, I mean, he had a problem with the general list. I don't think it was necessarily his ranking within it. It was the general list, and I feel like he's more than entitled to it. But people are also more than entitled to call you a hating ass hater.
I just don't understand why we continue to give these lists any attention, man.
If we can't
It's
help
fun.
it. We can't
There's,
help
there's always like uproar, man.
it.
Like,
We can't
It's fun.
it's just opinions, right?
Yeah, but we can't help it.
Yeah, we're
It's
gluttons.
Billboard isn't a hip hop mag.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question.
But we're gluttons for
Pete,
outrage.
let me ask you a question.
Talk to me.
You're a rapper. You arguably started this.
Yeah,
And then, I don't know who done this for Billboard, but let's just assume they're white people.
right,
A group of white people make a list.
right.
Are you not going to bone out? You.
No.
On some...
No.
Bro, I think knowing you, I think you would.
I mean, I think it depends on the type of value you put
When
on the
I know
list.
that I influence like the greatest,
You're going to be annoyed, bro.
No, I won't.
I think you will be annoyed. I definitely think you'll be annoyed.
I wouldn't be annoyed. Not at all, man.
Alright.
I mean, salute to Melle Mel. Listen, he's entitled to feel how he feels, but I don't know, man. I feel like we should approach with caution when it comes to these type of conversations. The way sometimes they go, it can come across as hating.
Yeah.
So you I mean, if that's how you want to feel, then fine. But don't expect people to either listen to you or respect you because of it.
It's tough, innit? Because if you're straight talking, it's gonna sound like you're a hater when you're not really being a hater. You're just telling the truth or telling what your truth is.
True.
So
Yeah.
Very true.
1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2.